Hello guys, and welcome back. I am always talking about the amino acids and just like why, I know, but our bodies are made of these materials. Our bodies are made of the amino acids. So in terms of diet, how you determine your diet and what you need as a human should depend on the knowledge that you have based on amino acids. It shouldn't be a moral decision of whether this plant is less sentient than an animal, because we do know that plants are just as sentient as animals, so they should both be treated with respect and looked at as both sentient beings. So amino acids, we need them. We call a certain amount of them, certain few that we need, 9 essential amino acids, meaning that we must obtain them through the diet. We are all responsible for obtaining these amino acids from our diet in order to survive and sustain life. So our essential amino acids that we do have are histidine, lysine, methionine, threonine, phenylalanine, and tryptophan. We also have the branched chain amino acids. A lot of people in workout culture are familiar with these: isoleucine, leucine, and valine. As far as them being able to produce and up muscle growth, I'm really not a it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. We don't have a whole lot of evidence to actually support that. It just in general, when you're getting more nutrients in your diet, your muscles, again, the muscles that are made of amino acids, they will store all of these compounds as muscle. And so we have non-essential amino acids as well. So these can be produced in small quantities through our central metabolism. So when you're moving and when you're doing kinetic energy and when you're in the sunlight doing chemical energy, you can actually produce amino acids through your central metabolism beyond cool, that we're not reliant on outside forces, but can make our own amino acids through physical exercise. This is why we say physical exercise is so good for us. Through kinetic energy, we can literally create things that sustain our life. So at the bottom here, I have the alphabet. This is the best way to understand amino acids. So the alphabet we learn in kindergarten, I believe. And what happens is they say, okay, kids, we are going to scramble up these letters to make words. So words, I can do W-O-R-D, school. You could spell school. But if I were to take this, if you never found out about the alphabet, if you never knew any information on the fact that we had an alphabet, you would not be able to spell. You would not be able to create sentences, create words. And that's essentially what happens with the amino acids. We expect to have our health without putting in the basic essential building blocks that our DNA needs to produce the proteins for us to feel good and to communicate with our DNA, a place of safety. So this is also going into, if you are stuck in the stress response, if you are stuck in the fight or flight response, or you have a lot of itis, a lot of inflammation in your body, osteoporosis as well, the body is asking, begging you for amino acids, begging you. If you have any inflammation in your body, your immune system is working harder 24/7, 25/8, around the clock to try and put out that inflammation, to put out the fire, to keep everything running at base level. And then if you have any extra energy, that might go to your immune function. But it requires a lot of energy to run the body. Our brains require a lot of energy. So if you're on your phone, if you're someone who does a lot of reading or just like taking in a lot of information, you're going to be using this brain power even more. So even more reason to have these amino acids in your diet. And I have tryptophan right here. Tryptophan is where I started focusing on these amino acids. Tryptophan breaks down into serotonin and then melatonin. It can break down into a different pathway, but we do want it to break down into this pathway because we would like to have more serotonin created. This is why I found out about tryptophan through serotonin. I needed to figure out how to get that boosted up a little bit more in myself. And melatonin. So melatonin is like the master antioxidant. It's the master immune function regulator. It is the master of the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system. So you could look at it as very important for vagal tone. If you've ever heard of the vagus nerve, it's just super important. One of the biggest cancer tumor suppressors. melatonin is so important. As we age, again, we lose the function of our circadian rhythm, so we lose the function of being able to create a lot of endogenous serotonin and melatonin. And a side note, again, why I'm so obsessed with sunlight, is when we go in sunlight, we help tryptophan degrade. That is the pathway we actually make the most melatonin in the sunlight. It's crazy. It's beautiful. It's like, oh my gosh, you know? For years, people are afraid of the sun, and then we're afraid of the sun, and then we're afraid of things like red meat. By the way, I eat mostly red meat, which contains the full profile of amino acids. If you switch over and look at plants, there's no plant that we know of that has the full profile of the amino acids. So it is so important that when you're eating the entire complex profile: eggs, poultry, even salmon if it's wild caught. I'm not a huge fan of salmon and fish right now for metals and other plastic toxicities. Again, I prefer beef. So if someone asked me, what brand do you like? I like cow. So I like grass-fed, regenerative farm. I want those cows to be in the sunlight like me. I expect myself to be in the sunlight. It's a key nutrient in my diet, vitamin D, everything else. And so I want the same animals. I want my pasture-raised eggs and my chickens. I would hope that they're happy in the pasture, and then my cows also happy in the pasture and helping to regenerate the soil and be really sustainable for the environment. So this is little throwdown on amino acids. I really hope that this is helpful for you in some way. I will say, as we go through that aging process, it is so important to get more and more protein. A great doctor to look up is going to be Dr. Gabrielle Lyon. She's a geriatric physician, does consulting with that. And she talks about this. So protein as you age is even more so important, because it takes a good amount to hit the stimulus in your body to keep that muscle built, because we know after 40 we break down muscle very, very quickly. So it's not only important to exercise, but definitely important to get your amino acids. If you or anyone is struggling with mental health, know that we build our neurotransmitters and the way that we feel through a lot of our diet. It's not fully going to be dependent on our diet, right? We might still feel bad, and maybe there's things that we need to do on our spiritual level that we need to clear, but on a basic physical level, all humans, doesn't matter the race, we're all made of amino acids, and we need to get them in our body right now. This is how we avoid nutrient deficiencies. All the chronic diseases, all mental health disorders are, if not by only secondary cause, due to nutrient deficiencies. So we absolutely need to get as many nutrients as possible whenever we're eating. So hope this video was helpful for you. If it was, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, good luck.